First story. The suspect list. The police chief was relaxing at home when his daughter burst through the door, out of breath. "Dad, I'm pregnant," she announced dramatically. Before he could say a word, she pulled a thick stack of papers from her pocket, and here's the list of suspects. Next story. A serious mistake. Two veteran doctors were chatting during a break at a medical conference. To be honest, I made a serious professional mistake for the first time in my career, one confessed with a sigh. "Take it easy," the other replied. "Tell me what happened." I cured a patient completely after just one visit, and I had no idea he was a millionaire. Next story. Forgetful or just smart marketing? A wealthy businessman was on his deathbed, dictating his will to his lawyer. He whispered, "And make sure to set aside $500,000 for every employee who has worked with me for over 25 years. The lawyer looked confused and said, "But sir, your company has only been around for 15 years. The businessman gave a weak smile and said, "I know, but it's good publicity, isn't it?" Next story. Friend, man, how did you manage to build a whole business empire in just 3 years? Me, simple, I teamed up with a rich investor. Friend, oh, what was the deal? Me, he brought the money. I brought the experience, friend, and now? Me, now I've got the money and he's got the experience. He learned never to trust someone with only experience. Next story. A man heard that a certain company was looking for a new chief accountant, so he quickly submitted his resume. As he approached the gate, the security guard old friend pulled him aside and warned him. "You should really think this through. The boss here is extremely difficult. In the past 3 years, he's gone through 3 chief accountants." The man smiled confidently and replied, "No worries. In the past 3 years, I've made 3 of my bosses step down too." Next story. At the company's annual meeting, the director proudly took a young man up on stage. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, "this is our new deputy director." A young man full of potential, he started here as an ordinary worker. Within 2 months, he mastered his trade, got selected for advanced training, took on management responsibilities, and has now risen to this important position. He then turned to the young man and asked with a smile, "Isn't that right?" The young man nodded, "Yes, Dad." Next story. The honest lawyer, a determined and hardworking woman, decided to start her own consulting business. With sharp instincts and a strong work ethic, her company grew quickly. Before long, she realized she needed to hire more legal consultants. She began interviewing candidates. The first one walked in and she asked, "As I'm sure you understand, integrity is absolutely essential in a workplace like this. So tell me, are you an honest lawyer?" The candidate leaned forward and replied, "Honest, let me tell you a story. My father lent me $15,000 to go to law school. I repaid every single cent down to the last dollar with the money I earned from my very first case." The woman smiled, clearly impressed. "That's admirable. What was your first case about?" The candidate paused awkwardly, then confessed, "My father sued me to get the money back." Next story. The duck dilemma. There was this guy who had owed his friend money for ages but kept delaying repayment. Every time the lender came asking, the guy would say he was broke and beg for more time. One day, the lender dropped by again, and what did he see? The guy was sitting at the table enjoying a freshly roasted duck, steam still rising from it. The lender raised an eyebrow and said, "Wow, eating pretty fancy today. Huh, I guess you finally got the money to pay me back?" The guy shook his head, man, I'm still broke. Can't pay you today either." The lender snapped, "Oh, Come on, you've been making excuses forever. You're not broke, you just don't want to pay. The guy insisted, no, seriously, I'm flat broke. I wouldn't lie to you. The lender pointed at the duck. Broke? You're eating a whole roasted duck and still claiming you're broke? And the guy replied, exactly, I'm so broke I couldn't afford to keep the duck alive, had to eat it. Next story. The antique dealer and the clever farmer. An antique dealer once visited a countryside home and noticed a cat eating from an old ceramic dish on the floor. To his trained eye, it was clearly a rare Qing Dynasty antique worth a fortune. Trying not to raise suspicion, he said casually to the farmer, "That's a nice cat you've got there. Would you sell it to me for $20? The farmer thought for a moment and said, "Sure, why not?" The dealer paid for the cat, and as he was about to leave, he added, "By the way, could I take that dish too?" The cat seems quite fond of it, but the farmer smiled and replied, "Sorry, the dish isn't for sale. Thanks to that old thing, I've sold more than a dozen cats already." Next story. At the car repair shop, a customer asked the mechanic, "So, what should we do with this car?" The mechanic replied, "Replace the middle part." The middle part, what do you mean?" "Take off the front bumper and the rear bumper. Then just slide a brand new car in between them. Tighten everything up, good as new." Next story. The secret to getting rich. A young man once asked a millionaire, "Sir, what's your secret to becoming so rich?" The old man leaned in and said, "Son, it all started back in 1932, tough times. I had just one last penny in my pocket. I used it to buy an apple. Then I spent the whole day polishing it until it shined. By evening, I sold it for 10 cents. The next morning, I used that money to buy 2 apples. I polished them all day and sold them for 20 cents. I kept repeating that process for a whole month. And by the end of the month, I had saved up $1.37. The young man looked amazed. Wow. And then what happened? The old man smiled and said, "Then my father-in-law died and left us $2 million.